Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you to take your time off your busy schedule to join us here today. My name's Alvin. My topic for today will be about global technologies and semiconductors. For those who don't know, right, we actually did a poll survey today at that backdrop over there. We asked all of you to vote which market you think will be the best performing market for the second half. And it's undisputable that you can see from at the back of the backdrop, it shows that digital economy technology is your pick. It's the pick that has been picked by most of the people. So, and it's not surprised because why we are recently seeing like Nasdaq reaching all-time high, as well as if you see Nvidia, it has become the first company that reached the $4 trillion market capitalization mark. But the million-dollar question is, what's next? Can we still invest it, or is it too late now to enter into the technology space? So to find out more answers, we look to dive deeper into our sharing here today. As always, I would like to start with the disclaimer over here. Please always invest at your own risk. Please do research before you invest in any of the investment products. And also, past performance does not indicate future returns. So far, you can see that 2025 has been a roller coaster year with huge ups and downs. You see, just this first half of the year, right, if you can see back in the markets, right, what have we witnessed? Some of the events are like US President Trump, their liberalization day, whereby he announced basically tariff to all of the countries around the world. And at that one point of the time, right, the effective tariff rate was expected to be around 20%. It is like the highest ever since the past few decades. And also we have witnessed the Iran-Israel war, which ended with US dropping bombs at Iran. And despite all of these challenges, right, we are seeing the US indices like the S&P 500 index as well as the Nasdaq index still able to reach all-time highs. But the most important thing is, what's next? Can we still invest? Is it too expensive? To look more into it, right, we look at the valuation first. You can see the chart on your left, it shows the Nasdaq index forward PE ratio. Despite the Nasdaq index, the US technology index has reached all-time high, right? But you can see that their valuation is actually lower compared to the start of the year and compared to 2 years ago. One of the main reasons is that analysts has been upgrading, forecasting higher earnings growth potential for all of the technology companies in US. And if we look deeper into it, right, recent performance is actually driven by the Magnificent 5 companies, not the Magnificent 7 companies, but the Magnificent 5 companies, which are your Meta, Alphabet, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon. And if we take these 5 companies out of the equation, right, Nasdaq is only just 2.9% as of year to date. But if we put all of this together, they are like close to 7% already as of year to date. And it's not a surprise because you can see in the last earnings result, right, the Magnificent 7 companies, I use Magnificent 7 here because we don't have the Magnificent 5 index, but you can see the earnings surprises has surpassed any other sectors. So this brings towards the question whereby, are the big techs, the Magnificent 7 companies, are expensive currently? We'll take a look at this chart. Just focus on the bracket over here. You can see 25 years ago, at the peak of the dot-com bubble, the technology leaders, their forward PE ratio is at around 83 times. The technology leaders at that point of time is not the Magnificent 7. We refer to it as the 4 horsemen, which are your Intel, your Dell, your Microsoft, and your Cisco. And their average PE is at around 83 times. But compared to our Magnificent 7 companies now today, we are at around 33 times PE only. And what's more important, that they are supported by real earnings growth. You can see earnings growth expectation for big tech firms in 2025 is around 32%. And we expect this positive earning growth momentum to spread across the broader technology sector. So you can see by 2027, technology companies are expected to give you around 20% of earnings growth. And one of the main reasons is AI. Because why? Because technology companies, they will be the main beneficiaries of AI. They are loaded with a lot of software developers. They know how to use AI. They know how to integrate AI into their businesses. That's why we believe that technology companies will be the beneficiaries of AI. And AI isn't a new thing. The hype has been around since 2022. But what makes it different currently is that I ask you a question. You don't need to give me the answer. Just think about it. How many times when you have a question in your mind, you open up your ChatGPT, you open up your DeepSeek and ask them question? Yeah, just this simple thing. This shows the growth of AI. And we believe that it is a real thing now. And these are some of the technology trends since 1950s. Started with the mainframes towards PC and then the most popular internet, all the way to today AI. But if you notice, right, all of these mega technology trends lasted for more than a decade. And we believe that this AI trend that we are seeing now currently could be the same thing as well. And it is a real thing. You see, this chart on your left-hand side, it shows a report from McKinsey. It shows that the S&P 500 companies, the percentage of them using AI in at least one of the business functions, as of the March of 2025, right, it is around 78%. And where are the most common places they use AI are such as customer service, cybersecurity, digital assistance. And these companies are putting real money into AI. You can see the blue bar here shows the total capex by S&P 500 S&P 500 companies. It has shown an uptrend since 2020. That means companies have their skins in the game. And if you look at the red line here, it shows the percentage of the technology companies that spend on the total capex. And it has recently, the latest quarter, it has reached 15%. What does it mean? Around the total capex spent by S&P 500 companies, 15% are from technology company alone. And we are seeing real revenue translation into some of these companies. For example, NVIDIA. 5 years ago, data center just contributes around 27% of NVIDIA. And it is now close to 90%. And similar thing to Microsoft Cloud segment, Amazon's Cloud segment. And these are some of the real developments that we are seeing happening to AI. And taking a look at the other side of the world, China, they are actually keeping up. They are actually running up in the AI space. You see, Hang Seng Tech Index earnings has shown an upside growth momentum. And Chinese companies, they are integrating AI. They are trying to develop their own AI model as well. For example, BYD has been trying to partnering with DeepSeek to integrate some of the AIs into their cars, as well as Alibaba come out with their own AI model, which is called the QN. And also recently, right, if you see the news, right, NVIDIA just gotten the green light from the US government to allow them to ship H20 chips into China. Previously, they don't allow this, but recently they just got the approval from the US government. And Chinese companies are scrambling to get their hands on their latest AI chip, on the H20 AI chip. So they were like, just take my money, I want those chips. So we are seeing a lot of demand from this China side as well in terms of AI. So although AI in China, they will still kind of like lag behind their US peers, but we believe that what we are seeing here in China, right, is just something like it has happened since at the 2022, what it happens to the US AI. So we believe that there's still a lot of growth potential over in China. And for this AI race, right, we believe that it is not winner take all kind of scenario. Both US and China could actually play a part inside this AI ecosystem. They could be the beneficiaries as well. And this AI team is actually inseparable with semiconductors. Semiconductors are like the pixels and shovels of the AI revolution. And we believe that we are seeing structural or growth drivers still remain intact. I'm just throwing in a few examples over here. For example, data centers. We all know like Microsoft is building data centers in Malaysia. And all of these data centers, they need to be equipped with the most advanced semiconductor nodes. So, for example, OpenAI for their data center, right, it is said that it is run by around 40,000 NVIDIA chips. And then as well, next is EVs. Nowadays, electric vehicles, they are fully equipped with all the sensors, the cameras, and all these need to be equipped with semiconductors as well. And Tesla just said that they want to integrate Grok into their own car models. So this will cause a lot more demand of semiconductors as well. And this is similar to mobile phones. Now mobile phones, we have 4G, 5G, maybe in the future 6G, 7G. And with each Gs they go into, more semiconductors are needed. And an example of on your right-hand side here, it shows the latest AI rack by NVIDIA. The demand you can see is mostly by all the big tech firms. Mid to smaller companies, they also want it. Some of them also want this latest NVIDIA AI rack. But because the supply is just limited and there's too much demand, they had to wait for it. So there's a real demand over here. And we believe that this entire AI ecosystem is just way too much larger universe than just companies that producing chips itself. For a lot of people, you might only know names like NVIDIA, AMD, or even TSMC. But the actual universe is just a way too much bigger universe than what you think. We have NVIDIA that designs the chip that is passed on to companies like TSMC that manufactures it, and then it's passed on to the assembly, packaging, and test to make sure that their products, their chips are in the best conditions. And we have also companies in the raw material space, equipment space, supply to the entire supply chain. So each companies here play a crucial role, and they are from various countries. So when it comes to investing in semicon, we always prefer a global approach. And also, when it comes to semiconductor, it can be very technical in times. For example, let's take NVIDIA alone. Their chips have got like H100, B200, GB200. Large language models, we have like ChatGPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-4o, GPT-4o mini. That's just too many. But that's just so confusing. But all you need to know is that with every new models being released, every new chips being invented, each of them are getting more and more efficient and more cheaper. Large language models now can give you PhD level kind of output at just a cost 80% cheaper. And that's more affordable, and we believe that this trend will continue to go on. And that's more affordable. And being more affordable, I think it's the crucial thing. I believe that it is the most important thing that opens the endless possibilities of AI. And I believe that the next AI beneficiaries will be in the application space. Now, most of the AI applications beneficiaries was mostly in the cloud space, where, for example, OpenAI, ChatGPT, around half of their revenue flows into Microsoft. And we also have other companies like AWS, Google, Oracle in the cloud space. And we have companies like Snowflake that helps to organize and store data. And because in the world of AI, right, data is king. And logistics and warehouse, we have companies like Amazon, Alibaba, Tesla, all of them uses robots in their warehouses. This increases efficiency. And we also have enterprise solution, digital advertising, and as well as data analysis. Let me just highlight a few examples over here. For example, Palantir on your left-hand side here. This is a company that do data analytics. So they actually work with a lot of enterprises, provide them solutions. For example, they are partnering with Boeing, the aircraft manufacturer. So you know, Boeing, their aircraft are very large in size. And when it comes to, because the size is too large, right? Sometimes you want to identify which part has possibility of malfunction, which part is faulty, any screw is loose. It's very difficult. So what Palantir offers to Boeing is that they give them a system that uses AI to identify some of the possible areas that might have potential faultiness, malfunctions. So you can see that they also offer this kind of solutions to many other companies. So you can see for the past 5 years, right, their revenue has grown more than 3 times. And next, digital advertising. Companies like Meta, like Alphabet, has been using AI to target their customers. Because why? AI can do all the analysis. They know your characteristic and uses the right advertising to target the right people. And this is what the companies are doing. So for those companies, right, what they get is that they get higher revenue from the advertising, from a unit of advertising cost spent. So we have seen this trend going on. And then also for Amazon, they basically integrate AI in most of their business segments, such as logistics and warehouses. They have robots. This increased efficiency. And then you can see news like they have been laying off a lot of warehouse workers. And then they also use AI for delivery tracking system. They also have AI in the cloud services that helps to run AI workloads. And on their e-commerce side, they use AI for sellers to use AI to generate content as well as to generate pictures for them to put on their online website. So these are these are translated into Amazon's EBITDA margin. And all these are supported by real earnings growth. You can see this is the S&P 500 sector earnings growth year over year. So you can see communication services and information technology is the highest among any other sectors. This is the reason why FSMOne is neutral on US, but we are still positive on technology. And we believe that there are still room for these technology companies to see upside potential, to see stronger growth. But for people, investors who are much more conservative, you feel uncomfortable to buy into all-time high stocks. Don't worry about it. You can wait for a pullback, wait for a correction before you enter it. Because why? Because this trend we are seeing here in AI, in technology, right? We are talking about a multi-decade trend, multi-year trend. And the growth story is a long-term growth story. That's why we are still positive on technology. We are still positive on AI. So, moving on, right? If I wanted to use an example from the dot-com bubble back in the 2000s, what are the lessons we learned during the year 2000, during the dot-com bubble is that we know that people, they have an idea of what is going to happen, what is the next big thing, which is internet, and they are right. But what they did wrongly is that they invest in the wrong company, they buy into the wrong business. So I believe that AI we are seeing currently is also in the initial phase, whereby current winners today does not mean that they will be the ultimate winners in the road ahead. That means for investors, instead of I just give you a few names to invest in, why not leverage on and trust your money with some of the reputable fund managers that has very long track record in selecting winners in the technology space. And these are some of the unit trusts that we prefer, that is managed by reputable fund managers. And alternatively, if you want a passive approach, you can consider this ETF. So these two are our focus list ETF. They kind of like complement each other. Why is that? Because you can see the Invesco Nasdaq Internet ETF, right? They have basically everything but semiconductors. Whereas the VanEck Semiconductor ETF, they have basically nothing but semiconductors. So they kind of like complements each other. So I think with that, I basically comes near to the end of my session today. So before we really end here, I'd like to end it with a few words. So I believe that we are not in a technology bubble yet, but only a beginning of an industrial revolutionary upgrade. And what we are witnessing now is actually the tip of the iceberg, and there's still plenty of opportunities waiting to be discovered. So hang on and happy investing. Thank you.